Good evening and welcome to Valley Views. As you can tell, our surroundings are a little bit different tonight as we are at the yard here in Dunlap on Cherry Street, and future home of another venture here in town. Going to be really a local eatery and place for music. And what else, Cody?
Oh wow, we hope a lot of things. We want this venue to be family oriented. So we may have some cornhole tournaments. We may have some gospel music. We may have some country music. We may have church on Sunday. We may have a rock show. It's a unique place, and we hope to have a lot of different things.
Well, it's definitely I know it's still in its progression stages, but just from looking at it, it looks like it's going to be a great place. Plenty of room.
Yeah, I originally became familiar with this room, and I call it a room, but it don't have a roof. And but I originally became familiar with this. I came by it one night here in town, and I looked in, and I had written a song that wound up to be in a movie. And so we shot a music video for the song, and I wanted to shoot it in here, in this space. And at that time, it was pretty rough. You know, a lot of the roof had fallen in, and so we were looking for kind of a rugged-looking atmosphere to film in, and this was it. And the folks that owned it was kind enough to let us use it, or they just couldn't believe we wanted to use it. So we used it and shot a music video, and then now, several years later, I don't know, 10 years later maybe, Becky and Louis Card, who are responsible for the Dunlap Mercantile.
Right.
And they came over, bought this building, and we began to tear all the junk out of it and say, well, what are we going to do with it? We're going to put a roof over it, we got whatever we're going to do. And I thought it would be really cool if we just left it open aired.
Yeah.
And above us right here, you see these sails, which are purple.
Right.
The back walls are purple and gold.
Yes, I know.
And so we just turned it into an open air venue that we can have Wi-Fi in it, you know, and people can come in and have some food and Coca-Cola or a cup of coffee or a beer or whatever they want to, you know, to have, and sit down and have dinner.
Well, and also I think we'd talked before about some of the plans of maybe having a food truck parked out front. Is that still in the process?
Yeah, that's something where we've talked about and are talking about. We want to, you know, don't want to disturb anybody or do anything that's not in the city ordinance or whatever, but our plan right now is to put a food truck out front, and maybe multiple ones. We're peddling around the idea of, you know, bi-weekly, bi-monthly, having different ones, or having our own food truck. And then you can get your food there, come in, sit down and eat, and it'll be good food, and you'll have a great atmosphere. We don't have anything like this in the valley, you know?
No, that's one thing I'm certainly glad to see happening, because Dunlap doesn't have a place other than the restaurants where you can just come in, sit down, relax, just have that cup of coffee, or you know, and also once we get this started downtown, I think that'll draw more people to downtown.
Well, we hope.
Yeah.
You know, that's our goal. Otherwise, we go bankrupt, right? But you know, our leaders, first and foremost, our leaders in our community in Sequatchie County, our city leaders, our county leaders, do a wonderful job, and we just want to add to what they're already doing. You know, as far as bringing a unique atmosphere back to the downtown. These old buildings, like I said, the roofs fell in on this one.
Yeah.
So we wanted to bring an area down here where people can come and shop and have dinner, and this is that kind of place. We want it to be a family-friendly atmosphere, and we want people to come to, I don't know, maybe, like I said, we may have church on Sunday morning. We may have a massive concert. It'll be line it up with chairs and, you know, charge a ticket. We may have just tables sprinkled out in here. It's kind of becoming its own thing, so to speak. You know, you can plan, and then you hit a bump in the road, so you kind of shift gears and you come back and reinvent it a little bit. But it's all but deciding what the food is going to be. It's ready.
Well, and even with the music, we have so many local talent
Right.
that could come and perform if they would.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll welcome people to perform, and we want to bring some people from Nashville, and bring some people from Chattanooga. We want to bring some people that's local, keep that local flavor in it. And this particular venue, is not just something we want it to just be for food. We want it to be for, like I said earlier, maybe we have a cornhole tournament, and it's not just for music. I probably shouldn't say this, but the first person that walked in here and saw it wants to be married in here, which was my daughter.
Yeah.
And my daughter is engaged, and she's going to be married in October next year. And she says, I want to have my wedding right here.
Wow.
And hopefully we've got some shots that we'll pan around and see the lighting and the walls and how unique this place is, So we want it to be a venue where if somebody says, yeah, I want to get married here. I had a lady as we were working on it stop in, and she says, hey, we'd like to rent this for our class reunion.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. We'd be glad to rent it to you.
Well, that'd be great.
We've put facilities in the back. We have a men's restroom. We have a women's / handicap restroom. And those restrooms, when you go in them and look at them, the ceilings have the original ceiling tin, those old-timey tins, that came out of the bank up here, which was built in 1903 maybe.
Yeah.
So those tins came out of that bank, and we brought them down here and we used them. We repurposed them. A lot of things we've done right here, especially in the Dunlap Mercantile building that we're working on, have been repurposed.
Well, and I noticed too, in not only here but in other places, a lot of people use this rustic. They don't have to have new stuff. They're using like the original brick here, and I don't know how old that is, but it's old.
Oh yeah, it's at least early 1900s. I don't know how old this is. This was a shoe store at one time. As far back as I can remember, I think that's what it was. And I don't know what was before that. But our theme for this thing, we wanted to keep it rugged, and we wanted to keep it. All we did was clean the brick.
Yeah.
And then we sealed the brick, so it's got a little bit of a shine to it because we did seal it. But Becky was adamant that we not seal it shiny too much. It's just satin, sealing, and then keep it looking good and looking old. And then our theme for the whole thing is railroad.
Right.
We used to have a railroad that came through here in the old depot that sat right across the street there.
Yes.
That old depot, which is no longer there, if you look at the bathrooms, that's what it looks like.
Oh, really?
So the bathrooms, the facilities back here in the back were built to look just like the old depot. On the wall right here to my right is a map of the train tracks that comes up the valley.
Yeah.
And so we want all of the towns up and down the valley are acknowledged on this map right here. We want to draw people from Pikeville and Whitwell and all up and down the valley.
Well, that'd be good because really there's, to my knowledge, there's nothing really like this around. I'm aware of.
I mean, I see things. I travel around the country playing music, at least until COVID hit. And as I traveled around the country in my life, I've seen things like this. A lot in places like in Texas, Louisiana, but not in this region. You don't see it a lot.
Right, and not in a small town atmosphere.
Sure,
right.
Yeah, we're going to keep it small town atmosphere. We want to do that, and but bring something different. This is different for us, and we hope to draw a unique group of people. Like I said, church people to people that want to hear a rock show. We want this venue to be used for weddings. We want it to be used for family get-togethers on the 4th of July. And one of the things that I saw this being, Valley Fest. We have Valley Fest. We have a beautiful stage over here on the other side of where we are. And I would like to see a concert going on the stage, and then music going on here, and music going on in the Mercantile when we have Valley Fest again on May 1st and 2nd, which has been rescheduled for. We still have Shenandoah,
Yes.
So maybe after that's over, I'll invite some of the guys from Shenandoah to come over here and set up and sing a few songs.
Well, that'd be great.
So we want to use this for all this music drives this downtown area. And there's so much talent in this valley.
Yes.
So much undiscovered talent. I tell people all the time, if people in Nashville were looking for their next big thing, come to this valley.
Yeah.
And go to a church on a Sunday morning and listen to a 15-year-old boy or girl get up and sing, and it's just great. Chattanooga's full of talent like this. We want this to be kind of, as Louis says, a kind of a bed and breakfast place for Chattanooga people. They want to come over on the weekend. We're working on another building back here. We'll have some apartments in. They'll be Airbnbs.
Oh, that'd be
so
great.
we're trying to grow this into an area where maybe a guy gets on his motorcycle that lives in Hickson and rides over here and has dinner on a Saturday afternoon and buys some stuff from the local depot, which is a cool store that just opened.
Right.
And more and more things happening. The gaming cafe that's going in down below us where the Blue Orchid Bistro was, the hair salon. We have a great Mexican restaurant back here. So all this little area of town is going to grow.
Yes.
And if I have anything to do with it, it's going to grow.
Well, and the whole idea is not only local, but we can pull from, like you say, Chattanooga and other areas that they come over here. They don't live here, but they come over here and spend their money here for the weekend.
Yeah, we'll get them come spend their money and then go home. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But like the Cookie Jar,
right?
Here in town, which is a wonderful place to eat, and the scenery's gorgeous. A whole lot of their traffic is from out of town.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. That brings people to the Sequatchie Valley, and they get to see what we already know.
Right. And I know it's just going to take word of mouth and a little bit of advertising to get it all done, but it will bring good results, I think.
Well, I think we're advertising right now.
Yeah.
And word of mouth would be is if you're watching this online or something, we'd ask that you share this and invite your friends to see this interview and what we're doing and what we're talking about. If you're watching it on television, tell your friends to DVR it and watch it later.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to grow, and I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, and this is a rather, actually, if you can't tell it from the outside, but it's a rather large building.
Huge. Yeah, we got about 2,300 square feet here, and that's not counting the back area. And we built this little oval stage that we're sitting on, to kind of lean this toward more of an acoustic sound, because the acoustics in here are great. I mean, a friend of mine brought his guitar in here. BJ said he brought his guitar in here and sat down and played one night, and he was like, wow, it just sounds like Carnegie Hall at the Tivoli Theater in this little area because of the echo, of the walls. And the stage got a little bigger than I thought it would be, so we're going to maybe have room for a full band in here at some point if it doesn't get too loud.
Yeah.
But they say if it's too loud, you're too old, I guess.
Yeah, that could be.
I might be too old.
Well, I come from the 60s and 70s rock and roll, so that probably won't be too loud for me.
Well, maybe we'll get some of your favorite people down here.
Yeah. But I'm just excited about all the things that's being done downtown, and because for years, downtown's had a lot of empty buildings. Just sit there, and then as time progresses, they get old, and then they fall apart inside, basically.
Right.
And now we've got, a lot of our downtown buildings are being fixed up and renovated. And
it's up to us. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I have people come to me. It's amazing. I have people come to me a lot when we began to clean the Mercantile out, the Dunlap Mercantile. It was a mess. It was horrible. And people would come and say, you need help. And maybe they didn't want any money or anything to help. They just was trying to help.
Yeah.
And that whole Dunlap Mercantile thing has been a real labor of love. I mean, I've got to know people, and I almost feel like I've lived a lifetime in that building.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's just been really, I mean, we've all cried together and fought, and it's just been all the people that's helped build that building has just been a big family.
Yeah.
And I kind of hate to see it be done in a way.
Yeah.
I want to see it done, but at the same time, I kind of like go, wow, I hate to see it done because maybe I won't get to see this guy anymore that's worked for us or whatever. And then this is the same.
Yeah.
It's a labor of love. It's been a lot of people just want to see these, as you said, these buildings that I've driven by. When I was a kid driving through here, I just thought there's some old buildings.
Yeah.
Even if I even thought that much about it. And as you get some, life lived and things, you begin to look at these old buildings and you say, man, our history
Uh-huh.
is in this building. You know, I was told the other day by Keith Land, we were in the Mercantile, and I was showing him all the work that was being done. And he said used to, the road that went down in front of the Mercantile didn't go any further than that red light right there in the middle of town. And then it turned and went this way.
Oh,
I never knew that.
I didn't know that either.
And I began to talk to people like Carson Camp and hear about the history of Dunlap and hear about the history of the valley. Find out that Jesse James was here.
Really?
Frank James was here. They have family living right here in Sequatchie County.
Well.
And that's a story for another day. But and then I began to find out all, about our Gene Hickson, our oldest veteran, and all these things that I just never really took into account. So these buildings, every one of them's got a story. And small towns, in my opinion, and not everybody agrees with me, but small towns are what makes up America.
Yes,
they're what keeps us going. They're what keeps America going. They're the ones that's going to go vote this election, and go vote, by the way. And they're the ones that these small towns are the flyover states. That the flyover towns, the hard-working people that that work in the restaurants, that open up their restaurant every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning to make you a real biscuit.
Yeah.
That's what makes America great, and I love it. And I love these old buildings, and I think these old buildings in these towns, whether it be Dunlap, Pikeville, Whitwell, or Kissimmee, Florida, wherever, those old buildings need to survive.
Yes, they do.
And if somebody knows somebody out there that's got buildings. I got a lot of family that lives in Spencer. My mom's family's from Spencer, Tennessee, and I remember more buildings out there on their square, but they've been torn down. And there's a couple or three of them left, but they've been torn down. Here in Dunlap, all those buildings where the Dunlap Mercantile is, on the other side of the road, used to be a whole nother group of them.
Oh, yes, I remember those.
And they're all gone. And that's where the Dunlap Depot was, the train depot. All those buildings are gone, and man, I just love Louie and Becky for having the heart to come here and try to do this. I mean, to them is, it's just about trying to save these old buildings.
Right, and I know Louie and Becky, they've traveled to other small towns similar to Dunlap and seen what they're doing.
Yep.
And they've brought that back and saying, well, why can't we do that here? And
well, Becky's a HGTV junkie.
Yeah.
She likes to watch those shows, and the Gaines maybe. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of them, but she sees, restorations and home buildings, and she loves that kind of thing. She's real artistic. The lighting in here, the paintings on the walls. She's had this vision for some time. She had it for some time because you couldn't think it up overnight.
No.
When you go into the Mercantile and you see all the collective things she's collected over the years, from Dunlap. History from Dunlap that's been put back into that building. It's not only is it a great venue for music, and it's going to be a venue for food and that place to have coffee, but it's also that place you can come to again for a wedding, a business adventure, your Christmas party, for whoever you work with. It's also a museum.
Yes.
It literally is a museum of things from that era. That building was built in 1894. I don't know when this one was, but I'm assuming it wasn't too long after that.
Yeah.
So these we need to save this stuff. It's important.
Well, you look at the architecture in the Mercantile building, to look back and see the old brick. I mean, it's, and then see the elevator they have in there, and that was a modern thing back in those days. You just didn't have those.
Oh yeah, that lift elevator. It's worth coming to the Mercantile just to see the elevator.
Yeah.
And but
maybe you can charge for rides.
Yeah, but I'm not going to operate it because it's a job.
Yeah.
It's got a big hemp rope about that big around, and you stand on it, and a big wheel the size of the hood of the truck up in the ceiling, and you pull yourself up.
Yeah.
And we used it. It's been repaired a little bit, but we used it to put a dishwasher and we've carried all kinds of old lumber down on it. I don't know how it didn't fall through, but it did.
Well, I think they built things better back then.
Absolutely.
They
One
built
of the
the
things
lakes.
that I found out that I had no idea about, man, I'm a musician. And I have made a living playing music for years and years and years. But one of the things I found out is that when you go by, I didn't know this, when you go by a 2x4 now, it's not a true 2x4.
Right.
When you go by a 2x10, it's not a true 2x10. You want to see some lumber, look at that building.
Yeah.
And look at this building. Look at these buildings downtown. Those guys, they, it was the real thing, a true 2-inch by 10-inch piece of wood
Yeah.
that is so heavy.
Yeah.
And we had a big time trying to repair, the ceiling, where a lot of that had rotted over there, but we saved the ceiling.
Well, let me ask you about this. I noticed a couple of signs you have here. Do you have any plans for any more signs to be painted on the walls?
I thought we might put your picture on it.
Well.
Yours or Ethan's.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what we have plans for. I mean, right now this is where we are. I'd love to see a big Coca-Cola mural on it. Eventually, what we would like to see happen is it be full of designs.
Uh-huh.
Might be cool to bring in the kindergarten kids and let them draw on the wall. I don't know.
Well, and what do you have a projected time finish date, or is it still just up in the air?
Yesterday.
Yeah,
yesterday. This unit right here that we're sitting in is pretty much finished. We just simply, I think we like a hot water heater, and I think we like figuring out what we're going to do about our food. The tables are kind of figured out now, and then I just got back today from buying 100 or so folding chairs, so that we can line this up, for events. And so we're just any day. But and I know one of the things that I wanted to say, I thought about earlier, a lot of people think, well, it's outside, it's going to be cold soon.
Yeah.
It is soon, it's going to be cold, but we're going to put some heaters in here, and I want this to be something that's going to be used Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, or it'll be a holiday place. Where people can gather in here. We might have a Christmas tree in the corner and Santa Claus, and the kids can come and meet Santa Claus like during the Christmas parade.
Yeah, that'd be
and
great.
you can come in and have some hot chocolate and a cup of coffee or whatever, and maybe we sell hot dogs, I don't know, but it'd be used to pull the community in here. We sing Christmas carols maybe.
Well, and
don't forget to give me a Christmas gift this year.
Oh, okay.
But you didn't last year.
It's on my list.
All right.
It's on the list.
All right.
But you mentioned that, and of course I know this year they're not doing the Scare on the Square like they normally do, but so that could be bringing
Right.
people in as well.
Yep, be a great time for it. The the fall festivals that we talk about having, this is in a hot spot for us to have music there at the stage over there, music here. I know it got canceled again because of we were going to have music at the stage just coming up in a few days this weekend, I think, but canceled because of COVID.
Right.
And I believe that when this is over, this is going to be a great little spot.
Oh, I think so.
And I think it's going to be a great little spot even before it's over. We're planning on it being open, and we may have to we're dealing with the public. You might have to deal with some of the mask requirements or,
Right.
things, or show people wash their hands. It's a shame that we've got to the point, and I was told to wash my hands when I was 5.
Yeah.
But it's gotten to that point,
Yeah.
but we have to plan that we're going to be wide open just as soon as we can be wide open.
Well, that's great. That's
Yeah.
good to hear. And maybe we get Ethan to do a little pan around and show the folks just what we have. It's a beautiful place, and the lighting is really good. I mean, it's for night. It's
Yeah.
good lighting atmosphere.
Well, I messed up for everybody that's watching. So we did your show the other day for
Right.
the Dunlap Mercantile, and then Glenn asked me if we could do the show here at the yard and talk about it opening up. And I said, well, yeah, we should do it at the yard, but we need to do it at night. Well, this is my bedtime. So you done messed up my bedtime. I'm normally be home watching TV right now. And I got me a new recliner today. I mean,
Oh man.
Glenn just rent my day. I'm just kidding. It's an honor to be here, and thank you so much for doing this.
Well, thank y'all. I mean, like I say, Valley Views, our program is designed to put out all the positive things that are going on, and you're part of being positive, helping the downtown. And of course, you've always been positive. I've never been around you. You may have been negative a time or two, but I've never seen that side of you.
No, I try to be positive, man. In this world, it's hard sometimes, to be positive all the time. But I'm just blessed. It was a really tough thing when one day, John Schneider and I did 15 shows in December last year.
Yeah.
My song "These Hands" was the #1 country Christian song in America.
Really?
And things were rocking right along, and we were going to roll into 2020.
Yeah.
And have a lot of shows. You don't do a lot of work if you're in the music business. January is kind of a downtime, but come February and country radio seminar happens and all those things, and we were going to roll out and have a big year doing a lot of shows. And then this Chinese virus hit.
Yeah.
And which I call it the devil, but that hit and it stopped everything.
Right, it did. Sure.
And I was helping Becky and Louie with this, and this has been such a blessing. I tell them all the time, I don't know how I would have survived if we didn't do this. And their whole goal in life is just literally to help people, just to be kind.
Yes.
They're just wonderful people. And I get frustrated, and they're like, "Oh, you can't be frustrated. You can't be mad. You gotta keep your chin up. God wouldn't like that,
Yeah.
And so they have just been a real blessing, to this town, to this community.
They sure have.
And to me especially. And I love them and thank them for it. And y'all are all gonna love them and thank them for it too when we get these buildings open.
Well, Cody, you have anything else to say before we close?
No, but we are gonna shave Ethan's beard on November the 7th. Come down.
Well, we'll see about that. Well, folks, if you have anything to know, just ask Cody. He'll line you up and straighten you out. But we're certainly glad that you've been watching our Valley Views program, and you can see it live on BTC Fiber's YouTube page, also on channel 18 of the Bledsoe Cable. And we're certainly glad for their sponsorship as well. And this is Glenn Edison for Valley Views, and we'll see you next time.
Brought to you by Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, your full-service telecommunications provider right here in the Sequatchie Valley.